Hello and welcome to the 2022 Global Impact Summit. We are focused on East Asia today, and I'm very lucky to have Yang Peng with us from BlueFuture. Thank you for joining us, Yang.
Hello.
Awesome. Yang, I wonder if we could start just learning a little bit more about yourself and about BlueFuture, how it started and what the company does.
Sure. After I get my bachelor degree from Sichuan University of China, I went to Stanford University and Nanyang Technological University of Singapore to pursue my master's degree, and my major is environmental protection. So after my graduation, I joined the Institute of Environment Science and Engineering in Singapore to further research the state-of-the-art technologies in environment industries. And after that, I joined a listed company in Singapore to focus on the biomass fuel, the renewable energy. And in 2014, my second son was delivered. And at that time, I decided to spend more time with my family instead of traveling around the world. So I started this company. And then at that time, I realized that the sludge will be a big problem for China because usually we burn the sludge and it will generate a lot of air pollution. And because you can drink the clean water, right? If you are rich, you can have very organic food. You can pay, but you cannot escape from the air. Everybody cannot wear a mask every day. So I think it's quite a challenging but interesting topic, and it's also my major. So I started to research on it. Yeah, that's that's my story.
So when you say sludge, perhaps you can be quite specific for those who are not in the area of sludge. Like, how would you describe sludge to somebody?
Okay, sludge. The full name of the sludge is activated sludge. It's not kind of mud or the soil. It's kind of a bunch of microorganisms. It is generated from the wastewater treatment plant, and it is generated every day. So the quantity is quite large. For example, in Chengdu of China, my city, there is about 3,000 tons of sludge every day. In China, the quantity is even more. And there's a name for sludge. It is called the timing bomb, because because there's not much space to store this sludge. So how to do it? How to treat it? So it's a quite headache.
It's really interesting. And so what specifically does BlueFuture do with sludge to solve that problem?
Okay. So our philosophy is that there's no obsolete waste in the world. Actually, the first step is energy, because it's the mother of every industry. And the second step is industries. For example, the iPhone, the manufacturing industries. The third step is environment protection. Okay, every nation, in every nation. Actually, environment protection is seen as the cleaner. I mean, to do some trash cleaning work for the industries. But our philosophy is that environmental protection is a magic to turn the waste to resources. It's not a waste. Okay, so we think that sludge is a resource. So we have a lot of ways to treat the sludge. For example, we can treat the sludge to carbon source to remove another waste. We can turn it to biomass fuel because of the carbon, right? We have to control the carbon. So it's a resource. In our philosophy, it's a resource. So that makes us different from others. Yeah.
It's interesting. So it sounds like you are not treating sludge as waste. You are treating it as a circular economy style asset that
Exactly
is not for disposal, it's for reuse, whether that,
yes,
in any different types of form. What types of specific technologies are you using in that treatment process or that circular economy process?
Okay. For different usage, we use different methods. For example, for the wastewater treatment plant, usually in China, in order to control the total nitrogen of the effluent, the wastewater treatment plant has to put a lot of carbon source. For example, the some the some organic, because to denitrate the nitrate to nitrogen. So this is a cost of it's very unnecessary, and it's very the cost is very high. So we use the oxidant to oxidize the sludge because it is microorganism into the small molecules, and we return the molecules back into the bioreactor, and it will be used as carbon source and to remove the total nitrogen. So it's very cheap. Yeah, very cheap.
Interesting. And so who are your customers? Who is it generally who is buying services and technology from BlueFuture?
Usually, they are the water groups, and our customer is I think is the top two world water group. For example, the Bacon water group, which is top one in Asia and top two in the world, and also the Swiss water group. Yeah, and also the CITIC group water group, which is top one in industry wastewater in China.
It's really interesting. Are there other companies out there like BlueFuture, or are they more all the traditional kind of treatment plants?
Actually, we are developing our partnership with some other industries, such as the Zhongguo Baowu Group, which is the top one steel plant group in the world, and this is our second method, which we turn it to the biomass fuel because they need fuel, but usually they use the coal as the fuel, and it will generate a lot of carbon dioxide, and that will be forbidden for China government. So they needed the fuel, but not the traditional coal fuel. So we turn this sludge into the biomass fuel, and it will be very good for them to cut down the emission of the carbon dioxide. So we will start our project soon, maybe in this year. Yeah.
That's interesting. So do you have any physical infrastructure, BlueFuture, or is it just technology, intellectual property, and process technology? I'm just wondering whether BlueFuture has any treatment infrastructure yourselves, or you're working with partners who have the treatment infrastructure and you're providing the technology and process behind.
Yeah, we design and manufacture the equipment. Okay, so for different methods, we use different ways. For example, if we turn the sludge into the carbon source, we put the equipment into the wastewater treatment plant, and if we turn it to the biomass, we have to set up a plant in an industry zone and transport the sludge into this plant and use our equipment to further treat it. So different ways.
And so, where do you see this space going over the next 5 to 10 years? Do you think you'll see, more people shift their mindset from, sludge treatment being a waste byproduct to sludge treatment being an input to a circular economy style? Do you think that will change, and how will BlueFuture change over the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, in 80 years ago, we set up this BlueFuture, and we keep talking about the waste and the resource, the magic, but almost certain people listen to us because they say waste is waste. Okay, no people listen to us, but the situation has changed. For example, 4 months ago, the CEO of Beikong Water Group, which is top one in Asia, has said that we must follow the method that the BlueFuture has set up because it is really an environment way to do it. And almost 1 month ago, the Chinese Ministry of Environment Protection enacted a policy that we have to pay more attention to the sludge and how to turn it to resources instead of disposing it. Yeah, I think the situation has changed. So I think more and more people are realizing the meaning of the magic. Yeah. So I think in the next 3 or 5 years, I think there will be a hurricane in this market. So it's a very big opportunity for us, but also a big challenge for us.
Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it? It feels like I definitely have seen the same from the Chinese government in terms of much more progressive policies on environmental policies, on renewable policies, circular economy, waste treatment, and that's happening all around the world. So for sure, I would have expected that, you've been working on this for a long time and we'll see a period of demand. But as you said, probably quite significant challenges as well. Maybe final question is, as you kind of look ahead and think about those challenges for BlueFuture, like what do you think some of those challenges will be? I feel like the opportunity side is quite obvious. Like we're seeing these changes in policy and companies, as you said, CEOs thinking differently. But what are some of the challenges you're thinking about will arise for BlueFuture over the next 3 to 5 years?
I think the challenge is the mind of the people to accept it, because the wastewater treatment is quite traditional, and the people in this industry is sometimes conservative. So for a new technology, they need to wait more time to prove this technology is feasible. And the longest project of our company is about 2.5 years. So maybe it's long enough for the electric equipment industry, but for the wastewater treatment plant, that's a short time. So I think we need to be more patient to change people's mind. Yeah,
it's fascinating. Wow, Yang, that was really great. I really thank you so much for sharing more. I think for most people in the world, they're not thinking of sludge, they're not thinking of waste because they just don't see it, because it's hidden from most people. But as you pointed out, is a massive problem, and it's only getting bigger. And so thank you so much for sharing a little bit more detail about BlueFuture and about the sludge market, and sharing your insights about the future of how BlueFuture is going to be involved in kind of supporting a better, cleaner, safer, and more circular economy for everyone in China, and no doubt around the world, as you've mentioned with some of your partnerships. So thank you so much again, Yang, for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Patrick.